Attention to the facial expressions, the body language, the demeanor. There was a point there where he kind of touched the microphone as he was saying if all goes well, he'll start on Sunday. I feel like there's not 100% consensus in the organization that it's even wise to put him on the field. They are in a tough spot because if he gets injured again, there are millions in injury guarantees that they won't be able to avoid, even if they decide after this season that they are no longer in the Kyler Murray business. And we're talking about a general manager and a coach who had nothing to do with the drafting of Kyler Murray nearly 5 years ago. And yes, in April, it will be 5 years since Kyler Murray entered the NFL. So if they end up with the top pick in the draft, and lo and behold, they're the only one-win team currently in the NFL, they might want a quarterback. They might not want Kyler Murray. Well, do we trade him?
Like they're not the only one-win team in the NFL.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. The Panthers as well. Thank you. Thank you, Myles. But it just feels that way. It just feels like the Cardinals are the only one-win team in the NFL.
You haven't been watching the Panthers then. But you'll remember that the Panthers have one win when we see them on Thursday night against the Bears.
On Thursday night.
Sorry.
Yeah. I can't sell that one. I earned eventually my keep for the week by selling Raiders-Jets. First of all, Bezos doesn't pay me. Second of all, even if he did, there's no friggin' way I can sell what's coming on Thursday night. But the Cardinals have to decide, are we keeping Kyler Murray or not? And if we're thinking about trading him, how do we get full value for Kyler Murray if he hasn't played in 1 year plus? Who's going to give us what we would want for Kyler Murray if all we have to go on is everything he did before he tore his ACL? That's the conundrum. And somebody pointed out last week, I think it was Shefty, that it's an organizational decision with Jonathan Gannon, with GM Monty Austinford, with others who are involved in the overall process, up to and including the owner of the team. He's in the loop. Yeah, you know why? Because it's his money. And we understand what we're doing here. We're putting this guy in the field. We're running the risk. With every game that he plays, he's going to have some sort of an injury, and we're stuck. We're stuck, and we got to keep him, and we got to pay him. I mean, we don't have to keep him, but we have to pay him.
Right.
And we'll regret that we ever put him on the field. That's why when Mike Lombardi said back before the season he didn't think that Kyler Murray would play at all, and I can't remember how it was couched, but it was enough to say, hey, folks, there are business reasons for the Cardinals not to play him. And, of course, that gets twisted into you're reporting that Kyler Murray's not going to play this year. It's like, no, dumbass. What I'm saying is there are business reasons for the Cardinals to not put him on the field. And we are at that moment. We're at that moment. You could just tell when he touched that microphone. We're at that moment where this guy's healthy, and I'm in the middle of all this because I got a player who's healthy and wants to play, and I got an organization that's thinking maybe we shouldn't play him this year, and the head coach is the one who's getting pulled in different directions. And I think touching that microphone was a very subtle manifestation of the stress that he's dealing with as he's got a player who wants to play, a team that desperately needs its best quarterback on the field. How do you justify Clayton Tune and 58 total yards? And I know Kyler Murray probably wouldn't have done much better, but they went to Cleveland and won a couple of years ago. Like, there are guys in that locker room and on that, there's like, why Kyler Murray's healthy? Why isn't he playing? So I don't think they can push this any longer. I think that Murray, number one, is healthy, and number two, if they don't play him this week, there'll be another manifesto from his agent. Remember the manifesto from early last offseason, 2022?
How could I forget?
The Ted Kaczynski manifesto from Eric Burkhart that you had to have a magnifying glass to read. I think if they don't play him this weekend, we're going to have manifesto part 2.
Well, absolutely. And frankly, I think at that point, the manifesto would probably make sense. I mean, the Cardinals have been listing Kyler Murray as a full participant on the injury report for a couple of weeks. And the reality is right now that they've either got to activate him or shut him down for the rest of the year because of the way the 21-day practice window works. So, right, he's on the reserve physically unable to perform list. That 21-day practice window is about to run out. So either they are going to activate him to the roster, or they're going to say, I guess we're going with Clayton Tune for the rest of the year. And based on the way that Clayton Tune looked, absolutely lost. And I don't want to blame him because guess what? He's a rookie 5th round pick. So I can have the goalpost set in a very different spot than I would for a quarterback that was picked in, at number 2 overall and in year 3. If you're sending this guy out against the Cleveland Browns defense that we know is very good and he has absolutely no shot, then this is the result you're going to get. right? This is exactly what was supposed to happen after you traded Josh Dobbs. 1 third down conversion, I think 7 first downs in general, and fewer than 60 total freaking yards. The lowest amount of total yards that the Cardinals have had in a game since the 1950s. All right, we're talking about before even you were born there, Mike. So this is a situation where if they are not going to activate Kyler Murray, then it's kind of like, are they tanking? I mean, what else can we conclude? Yeah. Because I understand that there are business decisions within there, but like, dude, I mean, what else can we look at and say here?
And they could activate him and still not play him. That's the other side of this. Just because they're getting close to the point where they have to put him on the active roster, it doesn't mean they have to play him. But again, I think that they are running out of time from the standpoint of keeping Kyler Murray and or his agent from giving us another one of these. We've got the manifesto. Great job by the control room pulling up the Ted Kaczynski style. I mean, look, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to make your point without that. It doesn't have to look like a contract to buy, a skyscraper. It's just amazing.
It worked, though. He got his contract before
they were dealing with the Cardinals.
So maybe we need more manifestos like this. Although, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow didn't have that, and they also got contracts before the seasons, their 4th season. So I don't know, but it's not like eventually it didn't work.
In hindsight, I guarantee you that Michael Bidwell would tell you he regrets giving him that contract. I mean, he got injured that same year. And that moment, that just the way they did it with the study clause, that was kind of the moment that everybody started to notice. Everybody started to notice there's something wrong with the Cardinals. Like everything had been fine. They got to an NFC Championship game with Carson Palmer and Bruce Arians, and they were fine. They were fine. And then once that happened, it's kind of like something's not right. Something's not right with the Cardinals. And we started to notice more and more and more. And that's the other side of this, too. It's a difficult situation for any team. This team has inherited the title of most dysfunctional in the NFL from the Houston Texans, as the Houston Texans win games with C.J. Stroud, which all gets back to the point as to why they're kind of in this mess right now that would cause Jonathan Gannon to, manifest his stress by touching the microphone while he's saying, they could get a franchise quarterback. They're in striking distance for a franchise quarterback that could maybe change everything. But wait, we had one that we paid like one a year and a half ago. I mean, this is a weird time for the Cardinals. A weird time for the Cardinals. At some point, you just got to go play football. And if he gets injured and you owe him millions, sorry, Michael Bidwell, you'll get more than enough to offset that. You'll still be fine. Even if the team isn't good, you're still making a crap load of money. That's one of the benefits of owning a team in the NFL. You don't have to win a single game. You don't get relegated. You don't get kicked out of the league. You still get your piece. It's not dependent upon how well your team does. You still get 1/32 of the national revenue, which is more than enough to make up for whatever you have to pay Kyler Murray, even if you didn't want to. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.